like Jen said, I'm just passing through. I lived in Portland, Oregon for the past 6 years, and I left there Sunday to make my way to Austin, Texas, where my wonderful, wonderful girlfriend lives. And I am ecstatic to enter the state of Texas and now be a Texan. And this is my first show as a Texan. And this is a poem about the person in Austin waiting for me. This is how she makes me feel. Like a nuclear reactor power plant that harnesses not any strange, harmful energy, but rather the energy of the sun, of daisies, of golden marbles, filled up to the brim. Behind me there is a rainbow. The nuclear reactor that I am harnesses the power of the rainbow as well, capturing the whole spectrum of color and light. This is how she makes me feel. Like a great gray stone-tall tower rising up out of the ocean. From my room at the top of the tower, I watch the world. I watch the waves. There is nothing but ocean for so far. From up here, the ocean looks like it is the biggest thing in the universe. It is the biggest thing in the universe. From my window at the top of the universe, watching its waves of water move in unison together, I feel like maybe I am bigger. This is how she makes me feel. I am 17, running slow motion through a field of light. Particles of dust moving through the air. The sun burns through their bodies. Perhaps it is dust. Perhaps it is magic dust. Perhaps this magical dust is what I am made from. I open my eyes and everything I see floats. I am on a boat. It is night. The world has calmed itself. Simply to hold me inside all that is darkness. Simply to rock me gently. This is how she makes me feel. The subway chambers of Moscow. I am vaulted. I have giant chandeliers hanging from my underground ceilings. I glow with so much light. I am a ballroom for the trains of Russia. If you happen to be a child that has climbed down my steps to yell into my body, those echoes will bounce their way across those vaulted ceilings. This happens all the time. My tunnels are filled with these sounds. This is how she makes me feel. Like I will live forever. Like there is nothing that could possibly harm me. This body will always be young and perfect. There are cities growing inside my chest. The cities all look like New York in the 50s. Every building tall enough to scrape the clouds. Every automobile a convertible. All the men wear hats and neckties. The women all have beautiful shapes of color upon their bodies. Someone has saved a baby. There is a parade. Someone has saved all the babies. There is the biggest parade moving inside of me. The skies explode with ticker tape. Strangers kissing in the streets. Their kisses are what makes me live forever. This is how she makes me feel. Like honey and trombones. Like honey and trombones. Thank you. This is an older poem about when I was in elementary school, and we used to have to say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning, and about not quite understanding all the words and mishearing it and assuming maybe that it meant something else. And super creatively enough, it's called the Pledge. Every morning in elementary school, the class would stand, raise our left hands and place our right over our hearts and recite the Pledge of Allegiance together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, liberty and justice for all.
And you know the part where it says one nation under God, indivisible? I always thought it was invisible. And that seemed really cool because it was like superpowers or something. One nation under God invisible. I want bed sheets with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson's faces stitched across them so my forefathers might actually hold me when I'm tired. One nation under God invisible. I want my coffin to be painted red, white, and blue so in death I may finally be cradled in freedom. One nation under God invisible. I want the secrets of this country to stop being secrets and to start being the mistakes we've learned from. One nation under God invisible. I want my country to be what it once was to me and a generation of first graders who misheard a word, mistaking it for a nation that could leap over buildings in a single bound, a nation that possessed a green ring that manifested the imagination into reality, a nation who was a simple guy who still went out into the night to stop crooks using only his gut, his mind, and his heart. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I used to hear that every morning. Every morning we had liberty and justice to give to all. For the 1,680 school days of my childhood, I pledged my allegiance during the best years of my life, placing my shaking hands over my quaking heart, hoping it didn't beat its way out of my chest, and the excitement I felt thinking about recess and chocolate milk on Fridays, and no homework on the weekends, and being a finger on a hand of fingers, on a hand of an arm of hands, with the arms of a body of people that had liberty and justice to give to every person whose hearts were beating just as rapidly as the children standing up in Miss Brown's 4th grade classroom. In an innocence of kickball and cooties, I pledged my allegiance, and I still pledge my allegiance to an innocence of kickball and cooties, foursquare and pigtails and garbage pail kids, and knowing that where I lived was just that. One nation under God, invisible in its lines and fences, instead of one nation invisible in its presence. I know this country is that heart beating inside the chest of an excited little boy, trying to be patient and learn about the world, but he's too afraid to lift his palm and let his blood sting, because he's afraid that being alive means dying, because he's afraid to let the red pulsating muscle that is no bigger than his fist, but so much more, lead him through life. When I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe for the first time, my mind burned, and I was alive. When I saw E.T. for the first time, my mind burned and I was alive. When I used to dance around our living room to bare necessity, spinning on vinyl record, my mind burned and I was alive. When I was 6 years old, I had all the answers to all the questions I wasn't asking, and no need for the ones I was. When my mind burned and I was alive, I made many pledges to a flap of dyed fabric that hung limply at the front of the classroom, holding forgotten colonies and faded stars. And I just want a breeze to blow through an open window and lift it on up, so we can start making good on those promises.